The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
All right, we're back again. Welcome to The Local Show with Tom and Steve and Dr. Pietropaoli, who's the owner of Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement.
Tom, is there any way you guys can get through the next few sets without referencing Italians?
Sure.
Is there any chance? So every time you guys make an Italian anything, I get $1. I'm going to end this.
You don't worry about that at all. What part of Italy were you from? Do you live out in Skinny Atlas? I know the practice is out in Skinny Atlas.
I live out there, and the practice is out there, correct.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was extremely fortunate to be invited to the Safe Harbor Wills and Trust, as you guys know well.
Sure, yeah.
John Murphy and his whole team invited several speakers up. I was one of the speakers to their care luncheon, which is basically everybody who works with them and is proactive and has got their will taken care of and all their end of life things taken care of, so they're taking care of themselves and their families. They're working with Safe Harbor Wills and Trust. They throw a luncheon for them a couple times a year, and they have this care community, which is kind of like a maintenance, I guess, or update. They update people with the latest, and it's a subscription for a year. And so they offer these events, and they have speakers come in. And I was fortunate enough to speak about knee repair, not knee replacement, to some very, very. It was a great crowd. Steve, despite Steve being there, no, just kidding. See, he throws it at me, but I don't like doing that either.
Now, see, you went because they invited you and you have knowledge.
Yeah,
Steve goes for a free lunch.
It was good.
I'm going to give Steve credit too, because he suggested it. So I really do appreciate that, Steve.
Good.
And I think it was a great time. There's about 175 people there.
Well, really? That many? Huh?
Very proactive people. They care about the safety and security of their family and themselves. Sure. So they've got all that stuff taken care of. And I spoke to them more about, okay, now you don't have to worry about that in the latter third of your life. Now let's talk about your health care and being proactive with that. And making sure that you don't need to have a knee replacement, hopefully, or something, a big surgery. And so we had a really good response. I hope they invite us back. But we did get some people who came in. I just saw a woman from that conference yesterday.
Excellent.
Super people, and I really appreciate it. And I want to thank John and his team.
Tom, so he, I'm thinking, okay, he'll be a good speaker. So he opens up. He's like, let's talk. We're talking knee. How many people here have had a knee replacement or knee? They say you need one. Most of the hands, or know someone. Everybody in the room is engaged somehow. So he goes, hang on, you might want to look away. But I'm going to show you. So he shows a video of what actually happens, like with a knee. Voompa, voompa, voompa. So he shows the surgery of
saws and hammers.
And hammers, and they're just a little...
Ting, ting,
like building a birdhouse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
metal and plastic.
To make a point of why does it take so long and why is the process sometimes a couple years by the time people get scanned and x-rayed and physical therapied and all those things by the time they get it done. And it was like everybody's like wincing, but the point was there that doesn't have to be the way, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you should unpack a little bit, because Steve does a terrible job at it, describing what you do with
the
needles and stuff like that. What is it that you do? Unpack the process.
Well, I mean, like
of
to Steve's
difference.
point, like I told a story. I told some stories.
Yeah.
And kind of actually started with John's story as to why he developed Safe Harbor Wills and Trust, because he had his wife's family didn't really prepare for that.
Correct.
And so
Yeah.
I told a story about how my father went, he kind of wanted to get the quick fix and get the knees and the hips done. And I was in my training and I was like, Dad, no, there's all these other things we can do that I was learning. I was so excited about.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting his hips and his knees replaced. And it took a long time to recover. It was painful. Yeah. He never really got back golfing to the level he was at before. He couldn't squat down and read putts, all those things. And then, it's a hard story to tell, but like he got an infection in his hip, and
due to the surgery.
Yeah, like 9 years later. 9 years later. So
wow.
because you feel good, I mean, you still have metal, plastic, and cement in you, and
I see.
you're always at a higher risk of getting an infection. So a lot of doctors will, when you get your teeth cleaned, they'll tell you to take antibiotics. If you have an infected toenail, I had a patient get an infection in their knee replacement from an infected toenaal.
Wow,
Urinary
I
tract
didn't know
infection.
that.
So he
Yeah.
got an infection. They had to take everything out. He had multiple surgeries. It didn't heal. Had to heal an open wound. It took 6 months to heal just from the inside out because they couldn't close it back up, and he never got his hip put back in. And so I was just trying to tell people that there's another option out there. So that, like, to me, that story made me want to go out there and say, hey, there's not just, everybody says, oh, you need a knee replacement or just suck it up and come back and talk to me. And that's not the case. There is a third option. We can repair the knee and not replace it. And many people, not 100% of the people. But to Steve's point, how do we know if you're even a candidate? Well, we need to figure that out first. So in order to figure that out, I went through a story of a gentleman who came and saw me, and it took him 2 years to get all his x-rays and his MRIs and his PT and all these things that the doctors and the insurance company, the hoops they made him jump through. And
he's suffering the whole time.
And he's suffering, and he still doesn't know, and he doesn't want to have a knee replacement. And all they keep telling him is, you need a knee replacement or just suck it up. So his wife brought him in to see me. We ended up doing knee repair, not knee replacement. And he was 90% for his knees, I think, and 75% for his shoulder, because we used it on his shoulder as well. And the point is, all these people were very interested in, like, sign me up, I want to do this. I was like, well, we got to figure out what's wrong first. So initially we have you come in for an appointment. In 1 day, we'll figure out, we'll sit with you. We'll sit with you for an hour, not 7 minutes like the average. We'll get x-rays, the appropriate type of x-rays, standing up, x-rays of your kneecap. We'll get an ultrasound, look at your knee moving, actually live. We'll get an MRI, but it's specifically to look for, like, little soft spots in the bone that lead to arthritis that we can actually repair. And then we'll have you evaluated by our total body fitness people, and then we'll meet with you again. We'll come up with a plan. So yesterday, for instance, we had a woman come in. She came in from the Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. She had hip replacement on one side that when they put the hip in, it cracked. And so they couldn't, that we can finish telling the story.
Let's unpack that after the break. Marc Pietropaoli, Victory in Motion. If you have questions, it is 685-7545. 44, that's the 5 we're talking about. 685-7544, victoryinmotion.com. Come back soon.